Welcome to the world of whispers and shadows, where every story is a soft step into the unknown. Before we begin, tell me, where are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video. Now, turn down the lights, lay back, and let the story carry you into the dark corners of forgotten places. This is Horror Stories for Sleep, and tonight's tale begins now. You arrive in the village just as dusk begins to blur the edges of everything. The sky is a soft gray bruise, and the trees around the old stone path sway like they remember something you don't. The locals at the inn warned you not to wander too far at night, especially past the field where the fog clings low to the ground. But curiosity doesn't sleep easily, not with a story like this lingering. They say there's a church on the far side of the village, long since abandoned, its roof eaten away by time, its bell rusted silent. No one tends to it. No one walks near it. And yet, every night at exactly midnight, the bell rings. You decide to see it for yourself. Your boots crunch softly on gravel as you follow the barely visible path. The silence deepens as you go, the kind of silence that listens. Then you see it, a lopsided spire jutting into the dark sky, like a broken tooth. Vines wrap the stone walls and the wooden doors hang crooked, groaning softly with the wind. You stand at the threshold, the last of the day's light slipping away. The air smells of moss and rusted metal. You step inside. Your breath echoes off old pews. Faded symbols decorate the walls, ones you don't recognize. In the stillness, something shifts, though nothing moves. Then, from somewhere above, a low creak, like an old rope pulled taut. The bell isn't supposed to work. There are no ropes, no caretakers. Just rotting wood and whispered warnings. You wonder, what is it that wants to be heard every night at exactly midnight? You move deeper into the church, each step softer than the last, as if the floorboards themselves are holding their breath. The stained glass windows are cracked but not shattered, their colors muted in the absence of sunlight. You try to convince yourself that the sound you just heard was just the wind, but the wind doesn't pull ropes and it doesn't ring bells. You look up toward the belfry. The wooden staircase spirals tightly along the back wall, warped and faded with age. There's no light above, just a shaft of darkness that feels thicker than it should. Against better judgment, you ascend. The steps groan under your weight, but they hold. Halfway up, you pass an old tapestry nailed to the wall. It's frayed and nearly illegible, but you can still make out the image, a figure cloaked in shadow, standing beneath the bell with arms outstretched as villagers kneel around it, heads bowed in fear. You continue upward. The air changes near the top, colder, heavier. A metallic scent prickles your nose, like old blood or wet iron. Then you reach the belfry. The bell hangs still, its mouth open toward the ground below. A thick chain, too new for the rest of the structure, dangles beside it. It sways, not with the wind, but like someone just let go of it. And then you see the dust on the wooden floor. Except for one spot, a set of footprints. Bare. Human. Fresh. You turn slowly, but the tower is empty. Still, you can't shake the feeling that someone or something is standing just behind you. Why would the dust show only one set of footprints, leading away from the bell? You don't turn around. Not yet. Instead, you stare at the prints in the dust. Their edges too sharp, too recent. Whoever left them had been here only minutes before you. Or perhaps they're still here, just beyond your line of sight. A chill settles between your shoulder blades. You finally turn, slow and quiet. The room is still empty, or at least it looks that way. But your ears pick up something the eyes can't catch. The faintest sound of breathing, close, rhythmic, and not your own. It's coming from somewhere above. And yet the bell tower ends here. You glance up. The interior of the bell is dark, cavernous. The chain vanishes into its shadows. You take a step back, suddenly unsure. You tell yourself it's impossible, no one could be inside the bell. But then you notice something else. Etched into the beam above the bell, barely visible in the low light, are words scratched deep into the wood. Let it ring, and never look up. The wind picks up outside. The church groans, and then the bell moves. A slight sway, a soft creak. No sound yet, just motion. But you can hear the chain begin to tighten, inch by inch. And still, you're staring up at it. You remember the warning too late, because now you've looked. The bell lets out one deep, hollow chime. Far below, in the village, a dog begins to howl. Lights flicker in the houses. The air feels wrong, charged, as if you've broken something by witnessing it. And from somewhere deep inside the church, beneath the stone floor, something stirs. What happens to those who hear the bell and look up? And why has no one ever told their story? You stumble down the stairs, your hands brushing cold stone and splintered rail. Every creak of wood feels louder now, every shadow deeper. The bell's echo still hums inside your chest, low and endless, like it struck something inside you rather than outside. Back on the ground floor, the silence isn't quite the same. It's heavier, as if something old has awakened and now listens. You head for the doors, but they won't budge. The wind outside howls now, harder than before, pressing against the warped wood like a hand trying to push in. The stained glass windows are black with night, and the colors have vanished completely. You turn. In the center of the church, near the front pews, there's a hole in the floor, one you know wasn't there before. Small at first, but as you approach, it seems to stretch wider, deeper. You kneel by the edge, peering in. Stairs again, this time made of stone, spiraling downward into darkness. And from below, you hear something. A rhythm. Not footsteps exactly, but something dragging. And then voices. Not loud, not angry, just whispering. You strain to hear, catching fragments. Another has looked. Let it echo. Remember the offering. Your breath catches. You want to run, to scream, but neither option comes. Your body is still. Your heart is not. Then you see it. At the bottom of the stairs, barely visible in the gloom, a figure, cloaked, motionless, holding something in its hands. It raises its head slowly, as if sensing your presence even from a distance. And the bell above begins to creak again. Is the figure waiting for you, or warning you not to follow? You descend the stone steps, each one colder than the last. The air here doesn't smell like dust or earth, it smells like forgotten things. Damp pages, burned wax, dried roses left too long in silence. The whispering continues, but it's no longer disembodied. It's coming from the figure below, its lips moving slowly, repeating the same phrase over and over in a language your mind tries to forget even as it hears it. You pause halfway down. The figure doesn't move. It simply waits. You glance back up toward the surface. The stairs are now swallowed in shadow behind you. There's no going back, only down. At the bottom, the space opens into a chamber carved from ancient stone. Candles sit in corners, but their flames burn with a faint blue shimmer. And at the center of the room, an altar cracked and stained with something dark that isn't blood, but feels heavier somehow. The figure steps aside. And on the altar, laid carefully on a bed of withered leaves, is a small iron bell. It's identical to the one above. A chain dangles from it, motionless, until you arrive. Then it twitches, once. Behind you, the cloaked figure whispers, "You have seen it. Now you must carry the sound." You don't understand. Not fully. But as your fingers brush the iron bell, cold floods through your veins. The air sharpens. The ground shakes, and for a moment, you hear hundreds of bells ringing in unison, far away, underground, beneath other churches, beneath other towns. You fall to your knees. And from somewhere inside your own chest, a dull echo begins. What happens to those who become the next bell ringer? And when will your turn to ring come? You find it at a roadside antique shop just outside a town whose name you never catch. The place is more shed than storefront. Sagging wood, chipped paint, and the smell of mothballs and wet velvet. You weren't planning to stop, but something about the place draws you in. Inside, rows of forgotten objects line dusty shelves. Music boxes that no longer play. Porcelain dolls with scratched cheeks. Books that crackle when touched. And at the very back, leaning against a crooked wall, stands a tall mirror. Its surface is flawless. Not a speck of dust or fingerprint. The frame is old, carved with vines and small, closed eyes. Despite the dim lighting, the glass seems to shimmer with a light of its own. You stare into it. Your reflection stares back. But slightly off. Your expression is a hair too still. Your eyes don't quite blink when they should. Then the shopkeeper appears behind you, silent as a shadow. An old woman, hunched and pale. She places one cold hand on your shoulder and whispers, "If you look too long, it'll forget who you are." You laugh nervously, but she doesn't. Her hand tightens. You can buy it if you like, but don't ask it questions. And never cover it. It gets lonely. You leave without buying anything. But that night, when you return to your motel, the mirror is already in the corner of your room. And your reflection is already waiting. How did the mirror follow you? And why does your reflection now smile when you don't? You don't remember bringing the mirror in. You don't remember unlocking the motel door or stepping inside. You just remember blinking once, and suddenly it was there, propped against the corner wall, angled slightly toward your bed. At first, you try to convince yourself it's just a coincidence. Maybe the motel decor is strange. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you're dreaming. But the mirror's frame is the same. The twisted vines, the tiny shut eyes carved into the wood, the same faint shimmer across its surface. Couldn't be another. You edge closer. Your reflection is already standing straight, waiting, not mimicking, just watching. You lift your hand. Copies you, but there's a delay, a heartbeat too long. You lean forward slightly. It does the same, but the head tilt is reversed. Your reflection moves right when you move right. No mirrored effect, just imitation. You test it again. A twitch, a wink, follows but off, as if whoever's behind the glass is still learning how to be you. Then the lights flicker. In that moment, brief but clear, your reflection doesn't copy you at all. It lifts its hand when yours is still, smiles, teeth too wide. And in the seconds before the lights steady again, you could swear something inside the mirror whispered your name. You back away slowly, heart hammering. That night, you sleep with your back to the mirror. But just before you drift off, you hear something move behind you. The soft scrape of glass, and a low sigh. What happens when the mirror learns your face better than you know it yourself? Sleep doesn't come easily. Each time your eyes flutter shut, a quiet creak pulls you back. The room is still. The mirror is still. But you feel it. A pressure like someone staring at the back of your neck from inches away. Eventually, exhaustion wins. You drift off into a thick, colorless dream. You wake sometime later, not to sound, but to absence. The hum of the motel mini-fridge is gone. The tick of the wall clock is silent. Even the wind beyond the windows has stopped. You sit up and your blood runs cold. The mirror is no longer in the corner. It's standing directly across from the foot of your bed. Closer, watching. Your reflection is there, yes, but not quite right. The clothes match, the posture mimics, but the eyes are different. Not dead, not malicious, just curious. Studying you, the way a stranger watches a familiar face, trying to remember where they've seen it before. You force yourself to speak. Just a whisper. Who are you? The figure inside the mirror tilts its head. Not in confusion, but amusement. Its lips move. No sound comes out, but you can read them clearly. I'm the part you forgot. You scramble for the light switch. When the bulb flickers on, the mirror is back in the corner. Nothing has moved. But when you glance at your reflection now, in the window, the bathroom mirror, the screen of your phone, something is off in everyone. Tiny delay, a different blink, a wrong smile. It's as if something stepped inside you, or maybe stepped out. What happens when your reflection no longer believes you are the real one? You leave the motel at dawn, mirror untouched, bag half-packed. But even the morning feels altered. The sky is too pale, the birds too quiet. As you drive away, the road seems longer than you remember, like something is stretching the space between you and the world you knew. You stop at a diner 2 towns over, hoping that distance will dull whatever followed you. But when you step into the bathroom to wash your face, your reflection doesn't greet you. It waits. For a moment, it stands completely still, not moving an inch as you lean in. Its expression is blank, like a mask trying to remember how a face works. Then it smiles again, that same wrong smile, and this time your reflection speaks first. Its lips move silently, but you hear the words inside your skull, like a thought that isn't yours. You left the mirror, but I didn't leave you. You stumble back, heart pounding. But something stranger catches your eye. Your reflection is still smiling as your own expression twists in fear. From then on, mirrors avoid you. Shop windows turn cloudy when you pass. Rearview mirrors show only blurred shapes. In every reflection, your face becomes harder to recognize. Less you, more other. Sometimes your reflection does things you don't. Sometimes you catch it watching even when your back is turned. And at night, just as sleep pulls you down, you feel it. a flicker of awareness inside you, like someone else sharing your skin, someone waiting for their turn to take over. How long can you remain real when every mirror insists you're not? You've stopped looking in mirrors entirely. You cover hotel bathroom ones with towels. You avoid reflective windows, polished metal, even the surface of still water. But no matter what you do, the reflection still finds you not in glass, but in dreams. Each night, it grows more detailed. You dream of a version of yourself that walks differently, stands straighter, smiles too easily. It doesn't speak anymore. It just watches, patient, silent, as you wander through shifting hallways of mirrored rooms. And always, at the center of those rooms is the mirror, the original one, with its carved eyes and knowing silence. In one dream, you try to smash it. But the moment your hand touches the glass, it pulls you through. You wake gasping, drenched in sweat. But something's different. You feel a heaviness in your chest, a slowness in your limbs. And when you finally risk a glance at the dark TV screen across the room, you're no longer reflected at all. The screen is black, but deep in the surface, something moves, a shape. Your shape. But it isn't copying you. It's waiting. And you realize the mirror didn't just forget your face. It took it. Now you're the one trying to remember who you were. And your reflection? It walks freely. Who are you now when the world only recognizes it as you? You never meant to find the island. The boat was only meant to circle the coast. A solo trip to clear your mind. But the weather shifted fast. Fog rolled in like a slow tide, and your compass spun in circles. Hours passed. The horizon never came back. And then, the light. A single, pale beam cutting through the mist. You followed it, desperate. It led you to land. A jagged strip of black rock rising from the sea, untouched by maps, unclaimed by time. At its peak stands a lighthouse. Tall, weather-beaten, silent. The light rotates steadily, though you see no sign of power or motion. No footsteps in the gravel. No keeper at the window. You dock and climb the narrow path. You tell yourself it's just for shelter. Just until morning. Inside, everything is coated in dust, but nothing's decayed. The logbook on the desk is open, as if someone had just written in it. The words are in heavy ink. The light must always turn. Never let the sea remember what sleeps beneath. You don't understand. Not yet. But when night falls, the fog thickens. The light turns, and you realize it doesn't shine over the sea. It shines into the fog, toward something you can't see. What is the lighthouse warning off each night? And what happens if the light ever stops? The lighthouse groans as the wind begins to rise. You sit inside, wrapped in a threadbare blanket, listening to the beam hum with each slow rotation. It passes through the fog like a knife through cream, slicing a clear path, but only for a moment. The mist always returns. You think of leaving, of rowing back into open water, but something deep in your gut says not to. Not while the light still moves. You climb the spiral stairs toward the lantern room, your footsteps echoing against cold metal. The higher you go, the louder the wind becomes, but not in gusts or bursts. It moves in a rhythm, almost like breathing. At the top, the light turns without gears, without flame. It simply floats, suspended in a glass chamber that hasn't been cleaned in years. You can't find a power source.
No wires.
No fuel. But it pulses, slow, steady, casting its beam directly into the mist beyond the cliff's edge. You step closer. Something shifts in the fog. A shape, not moving toward the light, but around it, circling. You try to focus, but every time the beam passes over the water, the shape vanishes. You can only glimpse it between rotations, too large, too still, too deep in the mist to define. Then you spot the second logbook, tucked behind the light's casing, a different hand, shaky, uneven. The last keeper looked too long. The sea spoke back. You lean over the railing, heart thudding, and far below, beneath the cliffs, something gleams in the dark water. What ancient eye watches from beneath the fog? And what happens when it sees you? You descend from the lantern room slower than before. Each turn of the staircase feels heavier, as if the whole structure resists you leaving, as if the light itself wants your attention to remain fixed above. The beams continue to sweep, carving a path through the mist, but now you can hear it. Not the sea, not the wind, something beneath it, a sound like a voice trying to remember how to form words, muffled by miles of water. It rises in your chest more than in your ears, low and deep, like a forgotten name echoing inside your bones. You return to the keeper's quarters. The logbook pages have flipped on their own. More writing. The fog is not weather. It is memory. The light keeps it blind. You check the window. The beam circles, but slower now, pausing longer between turns. You hadn't noticed before, the rhythm is weakening, and with each slower sweep, the shape in the fog grows clearer. You can't see details, just mass, as if a mountain were floating just offshore. Not approaching, not retreating, just waiting. Then the light flickers, only once, but the effect is immediate. From somewhere below, deep in the cliffs, maybe in the caves beneath the island, comes a sound. Low, metallic, like a chain being dragged across stone. You remember the phrase, "The light must always turn. What happens if it stops?" You go to the lantern room again. The beam is dimmer now. Something in the fog moves closer. Will the light last the night? Or is this the hour the sea finally remembers? The sky outside is pitch black now. No stars, no moon, just an endless curtain of fog pressing against every window. You climb back to the top, breath shallow, pulse echoing in your ears. The lantern room hums low, almost like a heartbeat. Fading. The light pulses once, then sputters. You move fast, searching for anything. A switch, a crank, fuel, a spark. But the room offers nothing. The light is not man-made. It never was. Below you, from deep in the ocean, comes a low groan. Long and ancient, the sea churns in response. You grip the railing and stare out into the mist. The shape is closer now, massive, towering. But you realize it's not rising from the sea. It's standing in it, a figure, impossible in size, shoulders the width of hills, his head hidden in fog, not moving, waiting, as though the extinguishing light is an invitation it's heard before. Then, below the tower you hear movement, footsteps, but you're alone. You descend, heart racing, and at the base of the stairs, near the door, the logbook is open again. One final line has appeared. It remembers. And now, so will you. The door creaks open slowly on its own. Outside, the fog breathes in. And you understand, this island was never meant to be found. The lighthouse never warned you away. It used you to stay lit. But now that it flickers, you may be the next keeper. What must be sacrificed to keep the light alive? And what happens when you finally look directly at what waits in the fog? The fog pushes through the doorway like smoke with weight, curls around your ankles as you step back inside and shut the door. But you know it doesn't matter. The lighthouse was never meant to keep things out. It was built to keep something in. You return to the lantern room for the final time. The light has faded to a soft glow now, barely reaching the glass walls. The massive shape in the fog has not moved. Not forward, not back. It simply waits, head tilted slightly toward the tower, as if listening. Then you see it. A single chair, carved from the same black stone as the island itself, tucked into the far corner of the room. You could swear it wasn't there before. A long chain runs from the arm of the chair to the base of the glowing light, anchoring it. You understand what must be done. You sit, and as soon as your body settles into the stone, the chain tugs once, gently. A pulse runs from your chest to the lantern. The light flickers, then strengthens. The beam sweeps once more into the fog, brighter than it's been all night. Outside, the shape takes a step backward. You're not sure how long you'll last. Hours, days, years. But something inside you shifts. You feel your memory softening, as though the sea is slowly asking you to forget who you were and only remember what must be done. The beam turns again. The fog obeys, and deep below, the groaning quiets. Who kept the light alive before you? And will there be anyone? After? The cottage is quiet. Too quiet, maybe. You rent it on a whim. An old stone place tucked deep in the woods. A perfect escape from noise and notifications. The listing said, quaint, cozy, full of character. You You didn't realize the character would be staring at you before nightfall. The wallpaper is the first thing you notice. Faded floral patterns run along every room, but in the bedroom, the pattern changes. Still floral, yes, but something about the shapes feels deliberate, less random, more like a face hiding in the leaves, a shape with shoulders, the curve of a smile, nearly invisible unless the lamp hits just right. You blink and it's just vines again, just age and pattern. You laugh at yourself, but that night, as you lie in bed, you hear something move soft, papery. You sit up, listening. The room is still, but the wallpaper near your bed seems different, slightly rippled, like it's breathing. You get up, place your hand flat against the wall, cold, but not dry. Your fingers come away damp. You lean in, and in the moonlight you swear you see eyes wide, unblinking, peering back from the swirl of vines. Then you hear the voice. "I remember you." You stumble back, but the room is empty. You check the wall again. Just pattern. Just wallpaper. But as you crawl back into bed, the vines seem to shift slightly. Who is the woman in the wallpaper, and how does she know your name? You wake in the middle of the night to a soft rustling sound, like fabric brushing across a wall. The kind of sound that's easy to dismiss, easy to blame on wind or settling wood. But the window is shut. The night is still, and the sound is coming from inside the room. You turn your head slowly. By the far corner, where two walls meet, the wallpaper is peeling. Not torn, not sagging, but curling away from the plaster in neat, measured lines, as if being pulled from behind. You sit up, heart fluttering. The floral patterns ripple in the darkness, and for the briefest moment, the vines rearrange, no longer trailing aimlessly but forming something. A silhouette, feminine, slender hands reaching upward, as though pushing against glass. Then it vanishes. The wall is flat again, but the corner of the wallpaper continues to curl, slowly, like an invitation. You approach with careful steps. The wallpaper lifts slightly as you get near, as if sensing your presence. There's something behind it, not just wall. A hollow, a small gap. You reach out and gently pull the edge. A whisper curls out of the darkness behind the paper. "You left me here." The air rushes cold against your skin. You let go. The wallpaper falls back into place, and the face returns, this time clearer. A woman, eyes open too wide, lips parted. Watching, you back away slowly. But as you reach the bed, you notice something scratched into the headboard. Don't let her out again. What happens if the wallpaper is peeled all the way? And what is she waiting for? Morning comes, but it feels like it never really arrived. Light filters weakly through the curtains, casting gray shadows over the bedroom. You rise, bleary-eyed, hoping the events of the night were just the product of fatigue. A dream, a hallucination, maybe, but when you glance at the wall, the wallpaper has peeled back even farther. Half a meter now, revealing not wood or brick, but a dark, velvet-like surface beneath. Almost soft-looking, like the lining of a forgotten box. It absorbs light. It hides things. You press your hand against it. It gives, just a little, like skin. You yank your hand back. The woman's face is gone. The vines have shifted again. But now, all across the room, the pattern has changed. The shapes are moving slowly, forming limbs, hair. A long shadow stretched across the plaster, like she's getting closer to stepping out. And the worst part? You don't feel afraid. Not fully. You feel guilty. Flashes come to you, vague memories that don't belong. A hand pressed to wallpaper. Promise broken. Laughter behind walls. The unmistakable sense that you've been here before, years ago. You leave the bedroom. In the hallway, more scratches have appeared on the plaster. You said you'd never forget her. You left the light on. You watched her fade. And just beneath those, something freshly carved, thin and precise. She never stopped watching you. You return to the bedroom, breath shallow. And the wallpaper is now hanging loose. A tall, woman-shaped slit formed in the center of the wall. The fabric flutters inward, into the space beyond. Is the woman trapped behind the wallpaper? Or is she finally ready to step through? You stand frozen at the threshold of the bedroom. The wall is no longer a wall. It's a doorway now, thinly disguised by sagging wallpaper that sways ever so slightly, as if someone on the other side is breathing against it. The slit in the pattern stretches from floor to ceiling. You watch as the vines around it shift, curling upward like fingers uncurling after a long sleep. The room smells different now, not like dust or mold, but something faintly floral, sweet,
Familiar.
and that's when it hits you, that scent. You do remember it. A perfume, worn by someone you used to know, or maybe forgot. You whisper, "Who are you?" The wallpaper flutters in response. Then, from behind the wall, the voice comes again, clearer this time, gentle.
Sad.
Close. You named me, and then you erased me. You move closer. The wall pulses once beneath your fingers, like something alive. Not quite heart, not quite breath. Then, all at once, the woman steps forward. But she doesn't emerge. She presses into the wallpaper, becoming clearer, more human in shape. Her hands reach out from the vines, palms flat against the inside of the paper. Her face is beautiful, in a forgotten kind of way, eyes full of time, lips stitched with silence. And then she speaks again, voice muffled but certain. "If you won't come in, I'll come out." The lights flicker, the house groans, and the vines begin to spread, crawling down the walls, across the floor, toward your feet. Will you peel the wall open and face what you abandoned, or let her peel her way into your world? You back away slowly, your heel brushing against the edge of the bed as the vines continue to snake across the floor. They aren't violent. They move like memories, slow, deliberate, impossible to stop once they begin. The woman's hands press harder against the inside of the wallpaper now. You can see the texture of her fingers through the faded vines. See her breath fog the paper. She's closer. "I didn't forget you," you whisper. The room responds with a low creak, as though disagreeing. Behind the wallpaper, her voice rises. Still soft, still broken, but no longer pleading. "You promised to return. I waited. I listened through the walls. You heard me, and you stayed away. You try to remember. Something aches in your chest. A fragment of a childhood, maybe. A sister? A friend? A voice once heard through thin bedroom walls late at night. Whispered games. A goodbye never spoken properly. And now she's here, still waiting. The vines crawl up your ankles, wrapping gently, not to hurt, just to hold. The wallpaper flutters wide, and you finally see her, not in parts, not in pattern, but whole. Her eyes lock with yours. Familiar. Longing. She reaches out. You don't move. Not because you're frozen, but because you understand. You step forward and press your hand to hers. The wall accepts you both. The room sighs, and just before the wallpaper seals shut behind you, the flowers in the pattern bloom red, as if grateful. Who was she to you, and what will it cost to remember her completely?